I think we are live now. Yes.
Yes, so we are live now. Okay, awesome. Great. So welcome to this special episode of Convo with Aysh. जो बहुत ही unique है because we have the power couple, the neuro couple with us today. And before we dive into the conversation, let me tell you a little brief about them. But please go to the description and check about their whole accomplishments because there are many. So I'm going to list out a few. Today we have with us Dr. Mayur, who is an accomplished neurosurgeon and yoga practitioner. He's a recipient of gold medal Government of India for academic excellence as a specialist in minimally invasive brain and spine surgery. Dr. Mayur has been practicing yoga for last 20 years and is an accredited and practicing yoga therapist from SVYASA University. He believes with conviction in leveraging the power blend of Eastern healing and Western medicine practices for holistic treatment. This is about Dr. Mayur, who is an amazing person and known as a yogic neurosurgeon. I met him on a flight, and this is the most surprising thing that has happened that we are in a conversation on our podcast. So, thank you, Dr. Mayur, for coming to the
Thank
podcast.
you. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste, Aysh.
So, and with Dr. Sowmyashree, I'm meeting for the first time. So, let me tell you a little bit about her as well. So, Dr. Sowmyashree has completed her MBBS in KIMS Bangalore and then pursued her MD PhD in clinical neurosciences and child and adolescent psychiatry at NIMHANS Bangalore. She has immense experience working with children and adolescents who have developmental problems, including autism, ADHD, learning and behavioral issues, family and school related problems, and childhood psychiatric illnesses. She has conducted over 500 workshops for children and parents across the country. And these are by far the most intelligent and well read and well studied people I have ever met. So,
Ayyo.
welcome you. Welcome, Dr. Sowmyashree. I'm delighted to have you on my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Aisha. We are
Okay.
happy to be here.
Yes. So this is like I'm actually a little nervous because you guys are higher level on the scientific knowledge that most people don't have much knowledge about. So let's start and do a little light
So,
shed.
Aisha, there is no need to be nervous because we will discuss the nervous system and we will release the nervous energy by saying that you are the questioner and we are going to answer.
Yes,
So
perfect.
questions are with you and answers we have to give. So you don't need to be nervous.
Yeah, actually, there are a lot of things that even I need to know personally about these topics. Like neuroscience is a topic I've always been interested about. मैंने थोड़ा set barrier को सुना है इसके बारे में, but the way you combine it with yoga, that is a very unique blend. So let's give a little light about this कि ये journey यहाँ तक पहुंची कैसे? How did it start with neuroscience and how did it come with a combination of yoga for you?
Okay. So the thing is that I did my MBBS from Government Medical College, Yavatmal, which is in Maharashtra. And I started doing my MBBS in 2003. And at that time, one of my roommates' father had a brain hemorrhage. And he had to go and get his father treated. And at that time, when he came back, he brought an aneurysm clip, which we apply inside the brain blood vessel to stop the leaking of the blood inside the brain. And then he got that clips packet. Like, suppose if we buy a mobile, then what happens? We take that box and we keep it with us, no, as a like guarantee or warranty period kind of thing. In the same manner, he had bought that box and he told that Mayur, we both have to become neurosurgeons. That was the brotherhood which we had, and then we started studying for neurosurgery. Now, neurosurgery in the vast discipline of neuroscience, neurosurgery is one of the branches, one of the clinical branches. Now, there is something called as basic neuroscience. Then there is something called as clinical neuroscience. So there's Dr. Sowmyashree is there. She is expert in clinical child and adolescent psychiatry, which is also a branch of neuroscience. Okay, so there are various branches of neuroscience, but like, as you have asked a person, like in a person note, you have asked me the question that how your journey started. So that is the reason that my roommate's father had a brain hemorrhage, and then we started studying for neurosurgery, and then we continued on the path of neurosurgery. I gave the exam. That exam is for NIMHANS, National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, Bangalore, and it is a very unique exam. It is an institute of national importance, just like AIMS and PGI and ZIPMER in Pondicherry. So these are very important institutes for our country and managed by the central government. This exam, only 3 people get selected every year, and I was one of them. So all across the country, amongst all the doctors who apply for this exam, thousands of doctors apply for this exam, and I was the one of the candidates who got selected. I have to give this exam 3 years in a row. It is not easy, and many people they don't even try to give it second time. I gave this exam 3 times, and I got into the MCH neurosurgery. It is a super specialty course for 5 years, integrated course, and then I became neurosurgeon. And during that time, whatever academic excellence I had, I got the gold medal. And now, since last 8 years, I am practicing neurosurgery. So I have done thousands of surgeries of brain and the spine region. So that is my journey about neurosurgery. Now, in this journey, we all know that anybody, including me and none of us, would like to undergo surgery. Would you like to undergo surgery, Aisha, if you want to? If somebody tells you that you have to undergo surgery of the spine, you have a disc problem and you have to undergo surgery of the spine, would you like to undergo happily?
Never.
Never, correct? And in the same manner, all of us, we don't want to undergo surgery because it is involving cutting of the skin and opening of the important structure, not just some any other structure, very important structure of the body, that is nervous system. And when I was seeing patients during my training, I saw that the spine problem patients, they were coming for fourth surgery, fifth surgery, even after undergoing 4 or 5 surgeries. What is happening? They are continuously getting pain. After 4 or 5 months or 1 year of the surgery, the pain recurs. There is a reason behind that. As we go on, maybe we will discuss all these things. So what is happening is that I was trained in yoga since childhood. Okay. And at that time, I was seeing my grandmother treating patients of spine, like sciatica and all these things. My my grandmother used to treat them without giving even medication. She was not a doctor. She was a yoga practitioner. And I have seen amazing recoveries without surgery, just with the basic principles of yoga and healing powers. So that is my background. And when I come into the neurosurgery, that is advanced practice of medicine, I see that we are still struggling to heal basic back pain and neck pain problems. Yes, there are lots of advancements in the technology. I also do surgeries, but there is a possibility that we can avoid that surgery. And why not? So that is how, when I got my level of independence, we have, if you know that, in our medical practice, we have levels of hierarchy. As you grow and then you get your independence, and then you start doing what you want, not what your unit chief or your boss wants. So that is where, whenever I got my independence, I started delivering yoga to my patients. And let me be very honest and frank with you, thousands of patients, they have recovered without surgery. And recently, I was asked to write a chapter on contribution of our Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi, about yoga, how he has improved the healthcare indirectly through introduction of Yoga Day, International Yoga Day, how he has improved it. And then I was asked that what is your contribution in this regard, and then please calculate the financials. Then I was surprised that I have saved around 75 crore rupees of public money.
Wow.
Which is nothing. Why? I will tell you. You are telling wow, but I am not happy with myself. because which is nothing in front of approximately 1,20,000 crore rupees of public money being involved in just spine care.
Just spine care.
See, one thing is generating revenue, generating money. Another thing is saving money. Correct? So
Right.
when you are not spending, so it means you are saving. And that saving is happening through practice of yoga. So I am a small drop in the ocean, but definitely, with social media and all these things, we can improve this contribution with regular practice of yoga and with regularly expanding the awareness in the society. So thank you very much, Aisha, for taking this initiative and inviting us over your channel. We are not doing a small thing; we are doing a very big thing, but starting with a small drop. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am feeling privileged that I could be a part of this. I had no idea this is so huge. So thank you for enlightening us with this. Now let's start with ground zero. Exactly neuroscience है क्या? Like you said, you both are into separate fields of neuroscience, just subcategories है. So let's start from the very zero question.
Dr. Sowmyashree will give you a hint of it, and then at the same time, I will share one slide so that all the viewers can see it and they can understand. There are various branches of neurosciences. Okay, Soumya, please.
Yeah, so neuroscience is in simple, very, very simple word, the science of neuro. Neuro means brain, right? So brain, spine, our nervous system overall. That study of that whole science is what we call as neuroscience. So neuroscience or neurobiology. So both of it are somewhat in synonymous terms, and that is where we study the entire nervous system. So we always keep making a joke of each other that he is a neurosurgeon, so he is working on the hardware of the brain. And I work with children and child development and psychiatry, mental health aspects of the brain. So I am more like working with the software aspects of the brain. So we kind of, so we kind of in that sense work in sync with nervous system in terms of hardware and software. And as you can see on this slide, neuroscience itself has different branches. So that one way of classifying it is basic science and clinical science. Clinical science, neuroscience means we are in touch with patients. We are understanding diseases, disorders, developmental problems, issues with brain, delay in development, and all of those things. Well, basic neuroscience is more related to neuroscience research, where we are understanding the normal development, abnormal development, what are the problems that are happening in the brain in terms of how disease comes, what are the different types of injuries that can happen to the brain at various stages of life, maybe in childhood, maybe in adulthood, or maybe even in elderly population, where we commonly see dementia, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, and those kind of problems. So we call it as, in childhood, we call it as neurodevelopment. And as we age in elderly, we call it as neurodegeneration. So the entire lifespan of the brain, spine, and the nervous system study is what basically neuroscience is. Do you want to tell what else it combines?
So yes, Aisha, I think you have seen this slide. I'm going to stop sharing, and you can see that there are various aspects to neuroscience. Correct?
Yeah.
And there are so many people who are working in the background of it, and there are so many people who are working on the forefront of it, like we as clinicians. Okay. And if you want to trace the neuroscience long back, you can say in the history or in the mythology, and do you have any hint that where, like, you have seen neuroscience in religion or spirituality, like every day in and out?
Neuroscience in mythology. So I think Hanumanji is coming to my senses. Like
One thing is Hanumanji. Okay, there is a lot of neuroscience about Hanumanji, but before that, just one more step. You are close, very close. One deity which we day in and day out worship, and it's the epitome of human endeavor which needs to be done in practical life right now. It is not yet possible, but yeah, it has been there in our history or in mythology, we can say. Ganapati.
Okay.
So Bhagwan Sri Ganesh is a head of the elephant and body of the human. So it's a head transplant. It's a brain
Okay.
transplant.
Right.
Okay. So like that Daksha Prajapati, like that Narasimha. So what we are trying to convey there, we are trying to convey the evolutionary neuroscience. So there are so many aspects to neuroscience. And when we study spirituality, we don't study just like that. We study the language, the sign language, the symbolic representation of all these things. We try to study and we try to put it across the community. Okay. So that is one more thing which I am interested in, and I keep studying. We both keep studying, and we try to put across, like as right now we are putting across about neuroscience in all the aspects of life.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think even in the slide you were able to see that newer branches are coming up as technology is also advancing, right? So artificial intelligence and machine learning and all those things, like how healthcare is being revolutionized, and we are trying to pick up diseases which even are genetic or something, and it has to be picked up very, very early to have a better effect of treatment or intervention in some way. So technology aspect of it is also now one of the newer branches of neuroscience, which we call as computational neuroscience.
Okay, amazing. So these are the advanced creations of whatever is happening, the conversions happening in the world. But how do we see the effect of neuroscience or neurology in a day-to-day life? Like everything in our body is made up of neurons. हम जो भी करते हैं, it is because of our nervous system. Everything is impacted by our nerves. So how does it impact our life? And how can we take control of it? Because I know habits are formed because of our nerves. So how can we impact?
You can see your nervous system. It looks like this if it is separated from the rest of the world. Okay. So it does not look so glamorous, correct? But the work it does is glamorous. Aisha, you are able to see?
Yes, it's visible.
It does not look glamorous, but it does the most glamorous work. And you can see here, I will show few more things. Yeah, so this is what neuroscience is all about. It is about learning. So if I have to tell something about learning, my professor used to say that learning never stops. We have to learn till our last breath. If you want to keep your nervous system strong, you have to do the gym of the nervous system, and learning is
Your
the
voice.
gym of the nervous. Okay.
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. Are you able to
Yes, you're
like? So learning is the gym for the nervous system. So you have to daily go to the learning station. Learn like that. Okay. Then memory. So memory, we all need memory. If we forget, we know that as people grow older and they develop that memory loss and their life becomes slightly difficult. Not only their life, the whole family members, they also become restless, and they also develop problems because of one person forgetting things. Okay. So that is another thing. This is the practical neuroscience. So
Yes.
learning, second is memory, and then our behavior. Now, behavior is very, very important, as we are social animals. All of the human beings, all of us are social animals, and how we behave. Now, suppose yesterday we have gone to a restaurant, and there the behavior of the staff, if it is not good, I am not going to go to that place again. And suppose me and you, as very practical example, if we would have remained ignorant of each other, I would have never even spoken to you. Today's live session was not even possible. Do you agree, Aisha?
Yes, definitely.
So
This is
the behavior aspect is very interesting, and we have to learn about the behavioral psychology of people, and we have to improve our behavior in such a way that it is not only benefiting us, it is benefiting each and every person around us. It's a very interesting point. So neuroscience will bring you to that level where your neurons are not only working for your own personal benefit, but they are working for the collective benefit of the humanity, or for that matter of the life on this planet. So very deep thought. As we grow into the aspects of neuroscience, we realize this point, and that is where I think spiritual elevation also happens.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aisha, are you with me?
Yes, definitely. I'm
Yeah.
actually lost in this field of neuroscience. It's actually very interesting. And
Yeah.
the perception behavior thing has got me stuck on it because this is the part where we can actually develop the skills that are needed in our life.
This
So,
is
can you enlighten, like, how?
philosophy. Yeah, please continue.
Yes, so no, this is what has got me curious that this is a thing. If we can work on this, if we can change our behavior according to our goals, we can achieve anything in life. And
Yeah,
everything goes back to our neurological patterns. हमारी जितनी habits है, the things
yeah,
that we do, it's all neurological patterns. So how
yes.
can we recreate that, or how can we modulate that according to our needs and goals?
Okay. So about this, Dr. Sowmyashree will tell. Before that, I will finish the other two. That is perception. That is how we perceive other human beings and other aspects of life. Everybody perceives things in different manner. Okay. So, for somebody, Dr. Mayur may be a very arrogant person, or for somebody, Dr. Mayur may be a very humble person. For somebody, Dr. Mayur may be a very intruding person. It depend on, I'm taking yours and mine example only because it is a very unique scenario. Okay. Because suppose you are not a person who is ready to talk, your perception is different about conversations in the aeroplane, then there was no possibility of we getting continuous connected and then reaching up to this point.
Right.
So perception, we have to always improve our perception. Now, this translates at individual level to the international level. Previously, our country, as this country, Bharat, India, it was like, okay, this country is a developing country, this country is a very dirty country, and people are very uncultured. But in last few years, we are transforming the perception of this country across the planet, and we are rising and rising, and people have started respecting us at a different level. I do not know whether you are aware of what is happening in terms of renewable sources of energy. India is leading in terms of renewable sources of energy.
Yes.
And the developed countries are looking up to India to guide them to improve the production of energy through renewable sources. And this has happened in last few years.
Yes.
And
Most
drastically, I'm giving just one example, small example. Okay, so that is perception. And the ultimate challenge is to maintain this consciousness, whether we are conscious within us what is happening and surrounding us what is happening. Are we enjoying the aspects of blossoming of the consciousness? And that is the ultimate challenge for all of us. Even if our eyes are open, sometimes we may not be conscious. So I think I will give over to Soumya to speak about the habits part. Soumya will tell us more about it. So
I think if we have to look at how we can help ourselves in terms of improving habits or in terms of doing a good job with respect to reaching our goals or reaching our overall whatever we want to achieve when we in our day-to-day life. So let's say that somebody wants to wake up early and somebody wants to go to the gym or somebody wants to learn the habit of going for a morning walk or something. So I think it's very important to train our mind first because as you rightly said, everything is related to our mindset, about our attitude towards things, about our perception of what we want to do, how we want to do it, right? So, one of the most important things our brain always has and uses is the reward pathway. So every time, let's say, somebody says, I sure podcast was amazing, you will get positive reinforcement, right? You'll feel happy about it. You will think like, oh yeah, they gave me a good feedback, they gave me a compliment. So let me do it again. Let me do a better job, or let me improvise in this aspect. So you will get reinforced. So that somehow it triggers our reward pathway in the brain. So even as children, when we are growing up, when we have a lot of social appreciation and somebody is telling, yes, you did a good job, amazing, your handwriting is very good, or you're able to read very well, then automatically our brain, it starts wiring, and it gets a lot of good brain connections across the various regions of the brain. That is why we develop habits and do the same thing over and over again, because it gives us some sort of a good feeling, from inside, or the neurotransmitters which make us feel good, they all start getting elevated, and it makes us feel good. So same way, if we have to do something positive or change our habits for the better, you start step by step, little by little, chunks by chunks, and then trigger your reward pathway. So maybe, so I was actually listening to another podcast, and in that they say it's not about finishing a task. It's not about, okay, today I'm going to go to gym and I'm going to do 30 minutes of exercise. No, it's about consistently doing something regularly, so that you will show up for yourself. You show up for yourself. It does not matter whether one day you're able to do for 3 minutes versus one day you're able to do for 30 minutes. But you show up, and then you give yourself, yes, I was able to do it. I was able to break that pattern where, pattern of laziness, pattern of being unaware, pattern of not being ready to learn, pattern of just, taking it for granted. Just break that for every single day. And then that will kind of give your reward pathway more stimulation, and then you start building on your habits. So one simple technique is to do a daily journaling. You write in a journal, you write down what all you were able to do, not about what you are not able to do, because when you go back to your journal should be your cheerleader, right? You should go back and say, yes, I felt lazy, but I got up, I wore my shoes and I stepped out into the nature, and I felt better. I did not sit down and continue to scroll on YouTube shorts or Instagram reels for the next half hour. I put down my phone. I was able to get up and go into nature. So even small things like that over a period of time will definitely help change our mindset and our habits.
Okay, amazing. Earlier you told about the child thing, that they are appreciated or they are motivated, so they do it better again. But what if the scenario is reversed? What if there is some negative neurological pattern formed, and then later they are leading to maybe self-doubt or hesitation or
Yeah.
social anxiety? So you must have dealt with a lot of cases like that. So how can we convert these negative patterns to a positive scenario?
Yes. So those are what we call as ACEs, ACE, ACE, adverse childhood experiences. So there is a lot of work right now in the world going on about understanding how adverse childhood experiences impact our adulthood. Maybe it's the kind of parenting, maybe it is war, What do you think the future of children who are in Ukraine or Palestine or Israel or all of these places would be like, right? They definitely will have a lot of trauma, a lot of issues with their own consciousness, learning, memory, their own personality, self-confidence, all of that will be impacted. So one of the most important things to start is to give them a positive environment. Even adults, when they become adults, give them a positive environment. Of course, they need a lot of support to, talk about the trauma that has happened, heal from the trauma that has but that they have been exposed to. So even in simple ways, if let us say there is a child who is constantly being exposed to begging in the road traffic signals. We see sometimes in some cities there are children who will resort to begging. After a point, you can imagine the kind of negative self-image, self-esteem, and such low levels of self-confidence. And these are the children who later on will go into substance use, get into bad company, do a lot of risky things, easily are able to get influenced by negative people in the society, do things for money, and it's very difficult. So first of all, to give them a nurturing environment, talk to them about their issues, understand how they can be helped. And if it's very severe, like a lot of adults who have had adverse childhood experiences have very severe problems. They might have depression, anxiety, like you said. They may have other psychiatric illnesses. They need to be evaluated, and long term, they need to be supported with maybe things like yoga, music, other forms of extracurricular activities. Even for that matter, there's a lot of work that's being done with theater and having pets, having friends, and having peer support groups to talk about problems. And worst case scenarios also pharmacological, that is medication, which might be needed to be given to support them.
Okay, amazing. Let's dive a little deeper into this because this is, I think, the need of the hour. ज़्यादातर लोग जो है, they are all suffering from one or the other kind of, maybe the thing you said, some adverse issues, or there is something or the other thing that impacts the brain that lasts maybe through life for people if they are not healed properly. So let's start with what the difference is. ये काम कैसे करता है? What is a child psychology or psychiatry, और क्या difference है दो?
Okay, I mean, honestly, the difference is just in the terminology. So psychology is where we understand behavior, consciousness, evaluate those things, and psychiatry is the branch where we understand in depth about the treatment aspects of it, the prevention and treatment aspects of it. So if there is a child psychiatrist, they are eligible to give medication, they're eligible to give a prescription for more severe kind of problems. A child psychologist is somebody who will do an evaluation, who will do learning assessment, developmental behavioral assessment, and do counseling and therapy. So that is the difference. But there's
MBBS, who is the MBBS?
Yeah, so child psychiatry are people who have done medical college training. So we are doctors who then go on to become mental health doctors. And psychologists are people who come from a BSc, MSc in psychology background or a BMA in psychology background, who go on to become counselors and therapists. There are two parallel things. Both of them are very important. There is nothing like one can exist without the other. We quite often, most of the centers work, if there is a child psychiatrist or adult psychiatrist, there also will be a psychologist who will be supporting in the team, along with other branches as well, like a social worker, a speech therapist, occupational therapist. So all of these branches are called allied branches of mental health. All of these work together. So we are a lot in sync. It's like a dynamic thing where one person, for them to heal, they require different arms to get better. So these are all different arms.
It's like an orchestra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of people perform different instruments, different musical instruments, and they create a very interesting music, which is loved by so many people. But unfortunately, in medical practice, even if from one doctor to another or from one person to another, we refer that okay, you require this evaluation or you require that evaluation. People feel agitated. I have come to you. You just give me the medication or you just give me the advice. Finish it off.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the society is yet to completely understand the need for holistic healing. Everybody just wants a quick fix. I have a lot of kids who are brought by their parents in 9th standard, and they'll say, my child has this, this, and this. Next year, 10th standard is there. They have to get good marks in board exams. You do whatever you want to do and fix my child. And it does not work that way. And I'm sure even in Mayur's practice, quite often he also sees similar things where people want quick fix. You give a medicine, I will take for 2 weeks. I want to be completely all right. But the background work, nobody wants to do. Nobody wants to talk about it. So,
yoga is not easy. Means it takes time, and many people, they force us to write medications or they force us to do surgery even. They tell that, no, I don't want yoga and all. It's not working on me. But those who have persisted on the path of yoga, they have got great relief over a period of 2 to 3 months or 6 months, and that is how they have prevented the scar on their body. So that is the reward which we get. It takes a lot of efforts and time on the part of both the doctor as well as the patient.
Family overall,
Overall, everybody
yeah,
is responsible.
holistic kind of feeling, and everybody should be on board properly in power. There are so many parents who say, I don't want to do anything. You tell my son, you counsel my son, you treat my son, let him do what he wants to do and get better. They don't want to come on board. But there are families who understand and who want to participate as a whole and learn parenting techniques and try to help their child out of the problem and change the school. There are a lot of schools which come on board, and principal, class, everybody holistically come and help the child. And I think those kind of children honestly have far better prognosis, and long-term outcome looks far better when holistic approach is there than just prescribing medication and trying to fix the problem.
This was exactly the question that was running through my mind. Like, how should people approach parenting? Because now it's like either it's an agenda or it's a trend. People don't see what's right for the kid, they are just following one thing or the other. So, what, according to you, is the right approach?
Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one most important thing, I think, in parenting, always to remember is not to compare. You never compare, because every child is unique. Even if they are brothers, even if they are sisters, brother, sister, cousins, every child will be unique, and you should not compare. And each child will have their own strengths, their own weaknesses. And you always build on the strength as much as possible, support them to overcome the weakness. But you cannot even label it as a weakness, because it's how their biology is, how their environmental circumstances have been. Even if even if two children go to the same school, I have the same class teacher, but that difference of having friends, the kind of company they get, the kind of environmental exposure they have, all those things will impact, nurturing and their own development. So I think as parents, one of the most things is to not compare. Second thing to approach parenting is also not to go with the trend. The trend is to give mobile phones to all kids. So I am okay with my child. You see very commonly in restaurants and in public places, children are not at all without a phone. They absolutely, yeah.
Yesterday we had gone to our family friend. They were celebrating 29th anniversary of their marriage, and we had gone there. And you see one corner, one boy in the family of 6, 7 people. They were, they were just playing games. Here,
Yeah.
the rest of the family is eating, and the children are like playing games on the mobile because the parents don't want to get disturbed. They're just given up the mobile, and the children are playing in the mobile.
Yeah.
So very sad.
Yeah, and I think that is the second thing I would say. And the third most important thing is to encourage the children to do a lot of activities that will improve their self-confidence, which is where the most important value of extracurricular work comes in. So nowadays, what is happening is, because of competition and comparison, everybody is focused on, okay, let's go to tuition, let's go to coaching class, let's put our children to here and there. But even the whole idea of relaxation in terms of extracurricular activities, holistic brain development, one activity to improve physical health, one activity to improve creativity, all those things which were already part of our daily lives as our childhood, or our parents' childhood, our culture, correct, that's right. So that has completely gone away. So I think everybody is, once child comes from school, they'll watch TV and they'll go to tuition and then exams and marks and those kind of things. But absolutely no value is given for extracurricular work. And even there, I think it's all about competition. Yes. I want to get this medal. I want to go to this competition. I'm sure you were going to say that. Same. So I think that is what I think parenting should not be.
Even if suppose I'll give examples so that people can understand clearly. the thing is that if your child is going for karate or your child is going for music, so in that also they push the children to excel and like, no, you get this belt or you get this, a music exam or dance exam and then excel, 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 push, 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 push. Even if child wants or does not want, it becomes like parents are trying to get the medals which they did not get in their own childhood. To their children, they are trying
to say
showing that
yes,
they are successful.
my child was able to do this, and they want to put themselves in that position in the society. But
You
unfortunately,
can share the example of high achieving performance people at a very young age, 12, like 12th standard. You have seen, some
a
patients.
lot of patients are there whom I have seen who are very high achievers, and because of so much of pressure, no, they kind of collapse at the very peak moment because of not being able to cope up. And why all these things are important, extracurricular activities. One, it helps you to cope with pressures. Second, it gives you ways of relaxation. Third, it also helps you to build confidence and resilience. So even in difficult situations, if you fail, that acceptance of failure, taking that failure in a positive way, it teaches you a lot of things. And at the same time, physical activity like dance or karate or gymnastics or yoga, all of these things for that matter, they release lot of positive neurotransmitters in the brain. They balance neurotransmitters and other chemicals. So one of the most common misconception, I should say, that a lot of parents have is brain and body are not connected. But that's not true, right? Every hormone, including thyroid, insulin, has an effect on the brain. And every brain hormone has an impact on the rest of the body's hormones as well. If you're overstressed, your diabetes comes in, hypertension comes in, you have thyroid issues. So all of these are somewhat dynamically interacting all the time with each other. So we really have to do a holistic work even on our own brain to be able to have a good mind and body synchrony, mind and body effect. So I think, just to summarize that, those are the three most important things. Maybe I will say that parenting practices should adapt and introduce the joy of learning to your child and give a lot of ability for the child to learn resilience, creativity, adaptability, improve focus, memory, all of those things for that matter.
Yes, perfect, perfect. One thing I loved that you said, that you need to do things that will build self-confidence and self-esteem in your children. Because I think heard somewhere, because if you have made your children an overachiever or whatever, but if you have failed to build that self-confidence in them, you have failed as a parent.
Absolutely.
Something that stuck with me. Thank you so much. You both are doing amazing, amazing work. Just one last question related to this. Like, what are the habits you should build in children from a young age so that we can fight with all the new age era evils, I would say, like addiction of social media, gaming, and not having any clarity what to do. People are doing so many things, but they have no idea what they are doing through their day. If you ask them, especially the children, how your day went, most of them have no idea. It's a monotonous pattern that they are following. So, what habits we should inculcate in our children from a young age that will help them deal with these, and then we'll come to the adults.
Yeah. So, most important thing is to start with this being physically fit, right? You must be physically fit if you want to work on mental fitness. I think before I go to the next point, briefly, I want Mayur to share. He very nicely puts in that viewpoint of physical fitness, why it is necessary to go into mental fitness. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I can actually. I will just 1 second. I'll share a slide. Through that slide, maybe we will be able to put the things in the right
I also
perspective.
want to compliment one thing. I love your chemistry. The way you sharing the mic and stuff. This balance is awesome. I like it.
Most of the times, I think we have similar things in our mind, just that the language we use might be different because of the work we do with different age groups of people in the society. But pretty much what we think might be similar, which is why I want him to say it, because he says it he gives a very nice perspective to it. So, I mean, do you want me to give you some time to find the slide.
Just a second. Are you able to see that? Okay, I will. Are you able to see the slide? No.
No, it's not here yet.
Okay. See our. Okay. Are you able to see that slide?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is that we as like mobile is there, no? For us, mobile is there. This mobile is hardware, correct? And inside this hardware, there is software. Now, until and unless this mobile has good motherboard, good memory, good RAM, it's not going to function well. And if it has less memory, less RAM, and less powerful motherboard, whatever software you try to load in this mobile is going to work very, very slow and very, very less efficiently. Do you agree, Aisha?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So same way, we have our body and mind complex. So this body is there. That is me only. I think you can make out that that is me. And I am performing a very complicated asana called as Ekapada Ardha Baddha Padma Rajakapotasan. And it's a very difficult posture, as you can make out. But however, this is possible when we are decluttering our, senses. First thing is that we don't overburden ourselves with senses like we like used for vision, used for hearing, used for taste, used for touch, used for smell. There are so many small things which I can speak about, but considering the time constraint and all these things, we will keep it for some other time. However, we have to minimize the burden on our senses. We have to minimize the burden on our emotions, that is manas. We have to minimize the burden on our buddhi, that is our intelligence, and we have to put it in the right direction. When we start doing things, then automatically our ego will come down. Our ego has to come down. And all these things are possible only when we keep the ego on the side. So once again, coming back to yours and mine example, I have kept my ego of being a neurosurgeon and head of the department and this and that and all on the side to talk to a stranger, which does not happen with everybody. And that ego is the biggest, heaviest stone on our progress or biggest hurdle to develop a useful or better habit. Okay. Once we clear that, our body starts syncing with our mind. And from there, we declutter our mind in such a way that we reach to the clear cut state of consciousness and we see our chitta, we see our consciousness clearly. And when we see our consciousness clearly at individual level, we see our collective consciousness, our greater consciousness, that is Mahat, greater level consciousness, we see clearly. And then we see our root habits like Moola Prakriti. And we see our basic nature we see nicely. And then we see our root of existence, that is our Purusha, means the basis of our existence. So it's a very deep slide. Maybe later on, when we come back or when we meet again and when we discuss some things again, when we have another podcast, at that time I will describe you. But I hope that I have given a gist to you that it's not just this body, it's not just this mind. There is something beyond that, which is consciousness. And if you just think about it, that how this consciousness has come to us, it is very interesting that the consciousness is traveling from the sun crores and crores, 14 crore, 40 lakh kilometers away. The energy of the sun is traveling, reaching to the plants, and the plants are absorbing that. Plants also, they have intelligence to catch that solar energy, convert it into food, and that food is either directly or indirectly consumed by us, and that is how we are alive. So it's very, very deep that this consciousness, how it is moving, and do we really care about it? Do we really become conscious about it? Do we really appreciate it? Do we really become grateful about it? Gratitude. Gratitude is another point which is missing completely people are eating food without being grateful. That is one of the worst ways of eating food. We are not grateful for the food we have. And that is why so much of wastage of food is there. We don't realize that this food has traveled crores and crores of kilometers to reach to us. The energy in the food. Correct? So that is also neuroscience. This is also neuroscience because it is a part of consciousness. And that consciousness, if you see, it is at atomic level also. Like I'm going now quite deep into all these things, but I'm just trying to tell you that it's not a small, like just a, just to flaunt your knowledge to people, or it's not a thing of like just, this neuroscience is very complicated. It's very basic actually. Very, very basic. However, everybody can practice it. However, we are not practicing it. We are not ready to just grow or gain that consciousness level. So that is the point which I would like to highlight through this hardware and software example.
Yeah, and I think being physically fit is like the first step towards becoming conscious because you're able to understand your own mind, your own body, you're able to work towards becoming more deeply aware. So I think for children also, it's very important to be physically active. That is the most important first thing. Second thing is to be in sync with nature. And nowadays, a lot of parents will complain. Sunday, child will wake up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. They'll sleep and they'll watch mobile till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. because of availability of social media and all of that. So it's very difficult. It's becoming more and more difficult. But at the same time, it's very easy to reverse this. It's not a problem in the true sense. It's just negative habit forming that parents introduce at a very young age, right? There was
This sad one point is popping out in mind. Recently, I came across few children who did not know from where the food comes.
Yeah.
It's very sad that they think that food comes from the supermarket. They don't know that the food which is reaching the supermarket is basically reaching from the farm, and how the food is grown and how much time it takes for that food to grow, and how they are wasting that food. It's a very, see, the consciousness can collapse anytime, and that is why constant efforts have to be done to keep it rising.
So I think some simple, very simple things like that. Wake up with the sun, fall asleep when it is 7, 8 p.m. and not stay awake beyond that kind of time. Be physically fit and active. Do a lot of activities to increase creativity. And many times when I see patients, if I say do activities with your child, parents will think, oh yeah, now I'm going to buy this puzzle, this game, this Lego box, and this video game, and then they're like, okay, I have done my job as a parent. But unfortunately, if you see, the way parents should be playing is actually involving children in their day-to-day activities. Children should know what is palak versus what is methi, and even when we were children, we never needed resources to play. And even today, it is true, but parents are not using creativity to do that because of the impact of social media and the society. So it's important to do very simple things like, take dal, take Fevicol, draw an elephant and stick the dal. It sounds very silly, but you're improving fine motor grasp of your child. You're improving focus, attention, concentration, the specific way in which you have to take the gum, taste it, finish that whole thing. Just imagine the kind of creativity child will develop. But what we are doing, we are constantly watching, allowing children to watch the same kind of cartoons on repeat on social media, or scroll through unwanted Instagram reels and shorts, which are very negatively impacting their brain during development. And they're confused. They don't know what they are or who they are. There is no time for introspection. There is no time for reflection or understanding their strengths and working on those aspects. So I think those are some of the very basic things that children should be given.
Yes, so true. And there is no filter also, the kind of data they are consuming, because I'm seeing children around me, they're continuously scrolling. They have no idea what they're watching, but it's impacting their brain in so many negative ways.
Yeah.
Again,
And you won't imagine children from rural India talk Chinese and Korean language, which neither they or their parents understand, but they do it because they have watched some YouTube shorts or heard those trending songs or whatever, but basic thing like asking for some item in the grocery store, that basic skill they will not know. They will not know the difference between two very commonly available fruits, or like Mayur said, from where the food is coming, or from where how we grow vegetables or fruits, or even small things they will not know.
Now let's take some case studies so that we can understand your approach, how you're connecting the yoga with the neuroscience, because it's a little, like you said, it is deep, and the kind of knowledge you have in your heart, it is gonna take a series to share with the world. Because yeah, it is a stepwise thing that we need to understand. It is basic, but it is deep. So how can we understand it with maybe a case study? Like how can we approach this thing? How do you use yoga so that you can save people from going through a surgery?
Can you just reframe your question? I just want to understand further better.
Yes. Okay. So, for example, let's take a case study, like you said, that you have saved so many people through yoga that they've healed, but so that they don't have to go through the surgery. So, how
Okay.
do we approach this thing? How do you use yoga to maybe heal yourself? कि उस stage तक हम पहुंचे ही ना कि we have to go through surgery or we develop a very deep condition.
Okay. One thing is that I would request whoever is watching this video, please go through my YouTube channel. One, mine and Dr. Sowmyashree's, both Mayur V. Kaku and Sowmyashree Mayur Kaku. We have uploaded hundreds of videos on this, including our patients themselves have spoken on the YouTube. Their journey, their experiences. So they are all real. It's not like we are not creating some kind of gimmick here. And this gimmick does not financially benefit us, honestly speaking. So it's actually financially not rewarding, basically. Correct? No? So that is one thing. Another thing is that what you have asked, that basic stuff about how healing journey has to start. First and very basic aspect of healing is to understand who you truly are. To understand who you truly are. And from there, we can take these things forward. Just a second, I will share the one of the slides with you so that you can understand this in a further better manner. One second. And yeah, so what I do is I try to make them understand who they truly are. That is one very, very basic aspect of my interaction with the patient. Then once they realize, okay, I am this, I am this, and I am that, then we can move forward in putting things across. First, they have to understand that, okay, why and how I have to do this. Okay, so can you see here? What are you able to see?
Yes.
Yeah. So you see, these are like what you call Russian dolls, one within the another. And most of the times people think that they are body. So they think themselves at here, this level. Okay. And then when I talk to them, then I make them understand that your body is working because there is some electricity inside you. That is the higher level, electrical level. Okay. So body is made up of what? Aisha, if you can tell me, just try to tell me. Body is made up of what?
5 elements or cells, tissues, and organs.
Basic, very basic. Food, correct? Food we eat. Body is made of food we eat. That is Annamaya Kosha. Second is, this body contains electrical energy. Do you agree to that?
Yes, definitely.
Because without that electrical energy, if ECG is flat, if EEG is flat, if there is no electrical activity in the body, we call that body as dead body. We don't even tell the name of that person. Correct?
Yes.
So that is second level. That is called as प्राणमय कोश. प्राण बोलते हैं हम उसको, है ना, हिंदी में या फिर संस्कृत में उसको प्राण बोलते हैं. That is pranamaya kosha. So second level is pranamaya kosha. Now, if you see a small baby has a body, small baby has electrical activity, small baby has annamaya kosha, small baby has pranamaya kosha. Then, but small baby, if I scold the small baby, if I express my emotions to small baby, will the small baby understand? No. So that is the third level, the emotional layer of existence. And that is where the things start become contaminated or interesting in both the ways. So that is third layer, that is called as Manomaya Kosha. I hope you are following all these things.
Yes, most.
Yeah. So Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha and Manomaya Kosha. अभी ये बच्चा जब डेवलप हो रहा है, जब बच्चा बड़ा हो रहा है, that is where Dr. Sowmyashree, this is software part. Manomaya Kosha is software part. I am dealing with Annamaya Kosha and Pranamaya Kosha as a neurosurgeon, and Dr. Sowmyashree is dealing with Manomaya Kosha and slightly further he as a child and adolescent psychiatrist. When the child is developing, the Manomaya Kosha is going to develop as well. बच्चे सीखेंगे, है ना? बच्चे पेरेंट्स से सीखेंगे, बच्चे टीचर्स से सीखेंगे, बच्चे फ्रेंड्स से सीखेंगे कि किस तरीके से इमोशनल रिएक्शन डेवलप करना है. Aisha, I want your yes or no.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because means I have to. I want to know whether you are with me. If you are with me, then most rest of the audience also, whoever will
Yes,
be
yes,
watching
definitely.
this video.
Yes.
Yeah. So the thing is that this Manomaya Kosha is the key to rest of the expansion of consciousness. Now, in my experience, I have seen the people with good Manomaya Kosha show recovery without surgery. The people with not so good Manomaya Kosha, they struggle and they ultimately undergo surgery. So that is my humble observation. Okay. Now, Manomaya Kosha, if it is developing, along with that, we are getting educated during our school and college and graduation, post graduation, then further. So we are developing the fourth layer of existence that is called as Vijnanamaya Kosha. So my Vijnanamaya Kosha is majority made up of neurosurgery, majority made up of yogic neurosciences and all these things. So Sowmyashree is made up of child and adolescent psychiatry and Bharatnatyam and Carnatic music and so on and so forth. So that is our Vijnanamaya Kosha. Now Vijnanamaya Kosha, the more stronger it is, there is no limit to the Vijnanamaya Kosha. But unfortunately, this is the limiting factor according to what I have observed. Do you agree?
Why is that?
Why is that? Because people get stuck with their roles and degrees. If suppose I think I am a neurosurgeon and if I don't learn yoga, if I don't apply yoga, or if I don't learn continuously because I think, no, I am neurosurgeon. Why should I do this? Why should I do that? That is not my role. This is not my role. This is not needed for me. Then my growth as a human being is fixed. You see around you. Now you will, if I have spoken these words now, you look around you, close your eyes and think about people. Now you'll start seeing so many elderly fixed in their characters.
Right.
Correct? So the Vijnanamaya Kosha is limiting factor. People stop living life once they are fixed in their characters. So always expand the capabilities of your Vijnanamaya Kosha. And that is why I've taken the liberty to teach you this deep concept which is going on since thousands of years. It is called as Panchakosha Viveka. Okay. And if you see, if your Vijnanamaya Kosha is greater and expanding, you will be able to manage your Manomaya Kosha better. You will be able to manage your Pranamaya Kosha better. You will be able to manage your Annamaya Kosha better. You agree?
Yes, 100%.
Now, this Vijnanamaya Kosha has another problem. It is going to create ego, no, for all of us. मैं IIM Ahmedabad MBA. How can you teach me anything? Nothing. I don't need to learn anything. I am from Stanford University. I am from Harvard University. I know everything. So that is where people don't enter into their fifth kosha. What do we want ultimately? What do we want ultimately? This is where we will stop today. But yeah, and I'm just asking, what do you want?
Peace. Ultimately, everyone's looking for peace.
What will come?
Sorry?
With peace, what will come?
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction को और क्या बोल सकता है? All of us want to be happy, right?
Right. Yeah.
What is the Sanskrit or Hindi word for happiness?
You're asking me Sanskrit now.
हिंदी में बताओ.
खुशी,
खुशी और सुख और आनंद.
Anandamaya.
आनंदमय कोश, अन्नमय कोश, प्राणमय कोश, मनोमय कोश, विज्ञानमय कोश और आनंदमय कोश। ओके, तो ये आनंदमय कोश को पहुंचने के लिए हमको विज्ञानमय कोश को थोड़ा ठंडा रखना पड़ता है और उसको ऑलवेज लर्निंग मोड में रखना। दिस इज द, इफ यू टेक दिस एज अ लाइक वन मूल मंत्र फॉर एवरीथिंग, you keep your Vijnanamaya kosha always expanding mode, always learning mode, then it will take care of the all other koshas. And that is what we are going to do this through this podcast, correct? That we are expanding our knowledge, we are sharing the knowledge. So when I am sharing the knowledge, I am strengthening my nervous system on these concepts, even though I would have read or I would have spoken about this thousands of times, but still it will give me some benefit. Some other neurons will start getting engaged and it will put me in the learning mode again. So that is how I am also getting benefited through this podcast. By sharing this knowledge, I am strengthening my neurons about Panchakosha. And that is the basis of my healing practices with my patients. Once I tell them, then I give them practices for each kosha. ईच कोशा आई विल बी गिविंग देम प्रैक्टिसेस कि आपके अन्नमय के लिए ये करना है, आपके प्राणमय के लिए, अन्नमय के लिए आसन होते हैं, सूक्ष्म व्यायाम होता है, प्राणमय के लिए प्राणायाम होता है, मनोमय के लिए कुछ इमोशनल एक्सरसाइजेस होती है जैसे जर्नलिंग हो गया, पर्जिंग आउट द इमोशंस हो गया, विज्ञानमय कोश के लिए उनको कुछ रीडिंग मटेरियल देना है कि हाँ आप ये पढ़िए, इसको आगे बढ़ाइए, और आनंदमय कोश के लिए आई गिव यू ऑल्सो होमवर्क, यू हैव टू कम बैक टू मी एंड टेल मी व्हाट इज योर idea of achieving ultimate happiness. It takes time. It takes time to bring that answer. So I will give you the time. And thank you very much, Aisha, for inviting both of us.
Okay. No, it's not over yet. And yes, I'm definitely gonna hold you accountable to this because, like I said, there is so much to ask you. There are so many transactional questions that I have in my mind that I couldn't ask right now. So we would have to wait for that. But let's do a fast round of keep it swift. Maybe some quick things or tips you can give us before leaving because I know there are time foundations, but let's keep it quick. So 2024 is about to come. What habit do you suggest people that they should start making anyhow now?
Soumya will tell first.
I think journaling, simplest, easiest, but most beneficial is to start journaling. Journaling followed by becoming physically fit. I think those two small things, if people can change in their daily life, it can impact them in a holistic way overall. Physical and mental well-being will be brought in together and that will solve a lot of problems, I think.
I will give 5. I'll give bunch of 5. Make yourself more flexible over a period of 2024. Make yourself more aware of your own breath. Slow down your breath in 2024. Make yourself aware of your emotions and allow your emotions to be monitored. Like before throwing yourself in anger or jealousy on anybody, you try to see from where it is coming. Hold your mouth, hold your emotions and see what happens. If you control for 10 minutes, you will be able to sublimate it. Then read something new out of your comfort zone. Something new out of your comfort zone. Something which is not your area of interest at all, but read that. That is 4th item. And 5th item, try to give happiness to others. I gave you answer. Try to give happiness to others and see what happens. Not for your own personal benefit, not for your own personal goals, but try to make somebody random person who is not going to help you or who is not going to give you any kind of benefit in your life, whom you may not meet anytime in life. If there is a possibility, try to give them some happiness and see what happens. This should be daily goals in your 2024 and see how you grow over these goals like that.
Perfect. You have given a life lesson here. Thank you so much for that. So speaking of reading, please suggest a few books or maybe podcasts that you would recommend people to listen or read.
Soumya.
I mean, it depends on individual choice. I think it's not like everybody can read or listen to podcasts of all genres. But I think one, like he said, if you have to understand your emotions and self better and move towards being more grateful and service minded and express gratitude on a daily basis. For that, maybe some of the ones you recently read, right? Some of the podcasts I can definitely suggest, which I frequently listen to, I think, is Robin Sharma's podcast, the Daily Motivation and those kind of things, and the Daily Mastery podcast. There's another podcast called The School of Greatness by Lewis House. That's something I listen to, and there are some speakers who are very unique. Health-related podcasts, I think that Ranjan Chatterjee's whole series of health-related podcasts are very good. A lot of people come from well-read and well understood backgrounds. So I can definitely say that some of the things that they say is correct, scientifically correct, spiritually correct, holistically correct from my perspective. So those are some things which people can definitely watch and listen to, I think.
If you are into business and you want to become a better businessman, then you should read something called as Everybody Matters, the book by Bob Chapman. So that is one recent book which I was quite impressed with. The kind of work they have done in last more than 25 years is commendable. And I feel that everybody should read. The book's name is Everybody Matters. And that is what our culture also says, no, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is our family. And that in practice, from a Western world perspective, is coming. And that is there in that book, how he has reached to that goal. Okay. And that is one good book which I would recommend to everybody. Apart from that, as I told you, grow out of your comfort zone in terms of reading and acquiring knowledge. So that is a very basic goal or habit which one can develop. And then that is how I am reading business books now. Even though I am not a businessman, but yeah, I am reading business books and I am trying to learn the aspects of management and all these things. Yeah.
Speaking of habits and routines, what is your first thing that you do in the morning? Like, what's your morning routine like? Because that sets up the mood for the whole day. How it's gonna go down.
First thing in the morning, I think we do is hydration. If
We
you say
hydrate.
what is the very first thing as soon as you wake up, you do is hydration.
We drink a lot
Drink
of
a lot
water.
of water.
And then I conduct something called as Brahma Muhurt yoga classes. So my classes are there, online classes. It is 4:30 to 5:30 in the morning. So it starts with a collective consciousness meditation, then some simple postures, some simple practices, and then some simple pranayam, and some scriptural studies like Patanjali Yoga Sutra or Bhagavad Gita, or something which is further coming up. And I have read something recently which I would definitely share with my fellow beings. So that is called as Brahma Muhurt yoga classes. And then after that, means we prepare food and we get on with the day like that.
Okay, so what is your idea of self-love? Because in today's generation, we're so engrossed in our activities. This is a
Sorry, I
part of
didn't get it.
Idea of
self-love.
we
How
could not get
is
you.
self-love or self-care? What are the things that you do for experiencing or practicing self-love and self-care? Like when you said,
Self-love, self-care.
I think to be able to do what you're really passionate about is the ultimate self-love or self-care. And I think not giving excuses, like I am passionate about dance and music, but I'm also a doctor. But rather than giving an excuse saying, oh, padhai zyada tha, and a lot of people do that, right? 12th ke baad chhoot gaya, 10th ke baad it went off. In spite of whatever hurdles you have had, whether I mean, of course, I have not. It's not like I have practiced it through the years. Maybe there were a couple of years there was a break because of our kids being very small. When our older one was just born, we were still studying and we had to do our course and degree. And at that time, practice was not very regular, and we had to do a lot of different things. But ultimately to be able to do what you truly believe in and what makes you passionate and gives you that, yes, wow, I felt that happiness, I felt that sense of calm. I think that's the ultimate, and it could come in any form. It could come in maybe one day instead of music, I get it through listening to a podcast, or maybe one day, day before yesterday, I was sharing with him some work with yoga that I've done through the years, practicing flexibility, because obviously through childbirth you will have I have undergone C-section and rehabilitation post that, to be able to dance and do flexibility and build the stamina and strength again, it takes some work. So I was just sharing with him that progress, that what was it in 2020, 21, 21, 22, now 23, how is it? So I think it all depends on doing what you can do as your passion, to push beyond one point, push yourself to do better, push yourself to be better on a daily basis. I think that's the highest form of self-love, but to be grateful and to give service to the society and get some kind of happiness and satisfaction through that is also an ultimate form of self-love.
Another from my side, recent example is like we are on like drive from Bangalore, and we drove from Bangalore to Nagpur. Right now we are in Nagpur, my native place, and on the way we had stopped in Hyderabad, and we met like I met somebody, one of my colleagues, in one of the programs which every weekend doctors do, and they share knowledge and all these things. So there suddenly that person told, "अरे कुछ काम दाम नहीं है क्या, drive के लिए निकल गया?" So it means for people, I told you, people get locked into their degrees and roles. So they forget that they are also human beings. Another thing is they people judge very fast. People judge you very fast. There are people who have declared that Dr. Mayur has stopped practicing neurosurgery. He has become a yoga teacher. So you got my point. So there is no end. There is no end for people to comment and for people to have an opinion about you. Okay? They don't know that I am performing very high level complicated surgeries. Okay, they don't know. Because they have assumed assumptions. So never give in to the assumptions of others. One, that is the most important aspect of self-love. That never give in to other people's opinion, and do what you want to do in positive manner. If your intentions are good, if your intentions are holistic, if your intentions are good for others, please continue to do it. Never stop because somebody who is lesser conscious than you is giving a critical comment about you. So to protect myself from such comments is my self-love. And I do it quite well. Soumya will validate whether I do it quite well or not.
Okay. Again, I have to say this. I love your chemistry. So it is imperative that you give some relationship advice to the younger generation. What we should keep in mind when we are approaching in terms of relation, whether it is a romantic relationship or with your parents or friends. What are the things that we should keep in mind when we are dealing with important relationships? At least those are in our lives. Everyone has 4 of them.
Maybe you should tell what we had put up for our anniversary thing.
Keep it real. Keep it raw and real.
I think we should work towards making memories rather than keeping ego in between and saying, oh, he didn't start, she didn't start, she didn't say, he didn't say, kind of thing. It should be more it should be more about making memories. Life is very short, and before you know it, we sometimes even we think we are already 12 years into our marriage, and we can't believe that we are already 12 years into marriage, and it goes very fast. It goes very, very fast. So
I have uploaded a small video with Soumya.
Yeah.
About one patient couple I met who had completed 50 years of their marriage. 5050 golden jubilee they had finished, and I was awestruck with their chemistry, because as a doctor I see so many couples who come, no, like patient will come, with that their spouse will come. So husband will be keeping on speaking, the wife will be like silently sitting. So there you know that this marriage is dead. And if wife is speaking, husband will be like, हाँ ठीक है यार, ये बकती है, बकने दो इसको, बोलने दो, ऐसा वो हो जाता है. And that plateau in the relationship, that flat line in the relationship. If you come to know that your relationship is in the flat line, then you have to find the spikes. You have to create the spikes. Spikes means upward spike only you should create. Downward, sometimes it may happen downwards, but from there you should know how to bounce back.
Yeah.
That is why I told you that in the beginning, keep it raw and real. Until and unless you express your emotions completely, if you start holding your emotions, it means that you are rotting the relationship. You are creating filth. You are creating sadness in the relationship. Once you release it, then means as a doctor also, कहीं पे पस आ गया है, उसको क्या करना है, पस को तो निकालना पड़ेगा. तो वो पस जो है वो रिलेशनशिप का पेन पॉइंट है, उसको निकालो, खोलो, साफ करो, फेंको, क्लीन करके फेंको. करना पड़ेगा, गंदा काम है, करना पड़ेगा, बट रिलेशनशिप तभी ही रॉ एंड रियल तभी रहेगा और हीलिंग भी तभी होगा. ऐसा.
Perfect. Perfect. So we all go through dark times. The way you see कि जो भी toughness है उससे deal करना ही होता है. So what would you advise to the people who are going through very dark times? How to bounce back or how to motivate themselves when they are like extreme low कि अब तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता life में. So how would you advise them?
I mean, I think people just don't know that all of us go through those things. So you're not alone. First, to realize that you're not alone. There are people out there who can help, whom you can reach out to, who you can definitely talk. I mean, it need not be your parents or your spouse, maybe sometimes not your friends, but there are people, and sometimes it is like those unique moments which will kind of give you insights into life, and you're not at all alone. I think the darkest of the darkest moments, that is what you should remember, that you are worth it. You are not alone. You have help. Seek help. Go to somebody, talk to somebody. Don't think that nothing can be done. Even the most, that is the beauty of having a problem, because if there is a problem, there is always a solution. I mean, when I was growing up as a child, I had a mentor who now is no more. His name is Krishnappa ji. And he had told me that, if there is a problem, there is always a solution. There is no problem without a solution. So you should just find that solution. You may find it in half a day, 1 second. It may take 1 year, but there is always a solution. So I think you should remember that you're never alone. Never ever think that all is lost. Tomorrow is always a better day, and time always heals. Definitely time heals if you work towards it.
I am going to share one small slide and then I'm going to speak something which is very, very important. I think you can read this. Aisha, are you able to read this?
Yes. Now it's visible. 26
Yeah,
year
can you
old.
read this for me? Can you read this for me?
26-year-old Dr. Shana commits suicide after fellow doctor, oh my God, EA Ruiz breaks marriage over dowry demand of BMW, gold and land. And these are doctors we are talking about. Oh my God.
Yes. So I will remove it because it's too much triggering for many people. Relationship has to start at a positive note. 1 point. There are various levels of relationship. There is a grading of relationship. There is a scoring of relationship. It's called -1, +1, +2, +3. -1 is domination or exploitation. So this is called as domination bar exploitation. Correct? So -1. Then there is +1, which is professional. Like, okay, तुम तेरा काम करो, मैं मेरा काम करता हूँ. Then +2 is open and trust. Opening in the relationship and developing trust. And then +3 is creating true intimacy bar family atmosphere. It works at any relationship. Even with your own parents, there is a possibility that you might be having a -1 relationship. Even with your own spouse, you can have -1 relationship. So it means that if you have to calculate your relationship level. You have to calculate your relationship level. Then only, Swami, I will do one thing. I will change this background so that 1 second. You are disappearing from the. You are disappearing from. Acha, okay, we will keep it real now. Keep it
Oh,
raw.
this was perfect. We should have done this from the beginning.
No problem. We were like worried about how it
No,
will
no.
look,
Like
but
you
now I
said,
don't
keep
care.
it raw and real.
So the thing is that -1, you should see in what kind of relationship you are going. Like I think you are yet to get married.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
So you should see, is your relationship wherever, in whichever area, anywhere, not only romantic relation, any area, is it -1? If it is -1, start packing your bags. Never engage with -1 relationship. It's very dangerous. Okay. +1, good. Okay, fine. This is what professionalism is. Okay, no problem. Try to develop into +2. And if you are in +2, then we go towards +3. Which is +3 is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Family. We are like a family. The culture of India is all about developing +3. हमारे पूर्वज यही बोलते आ रहे, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, वसुधैव. इसी चक्कर में सब लोग हमारे ऊपर चढ़ गए, हमारे ऊपर आक्रमण करते गए. ठीक है, हमारा नुकसान हुआ. क्यों? क्योंकि वो -1 वाले थे. Dominators and exploiters. The loot के trillions and trillions of dollars they looted and went. That's a different story. But I am trying to tell you that one-to-one connection, try to develop +2 or +3 if it is possible. And see, if you are entering into a relationship, and think +1, it is +1, +2, +3, what kind of it is. And maybe in our relationship also there might be moments where we are trying to dominate or exploit each other. In any relationship, then we have to come back. अरे यार, नहीं सौम्या ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए था, नहीं मयूर ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए था. Then that is how we correct our course. So this score you remember. And maybe if you are editing this video, you put it in one slide. I don't have slide of that, so otherwise, but I think you will be able to make it. Yeah.
Perfect. This was the life lesson that's gonna change a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
This perspective, like you said, is very important, that needed to be heard. Thank you so much for all the valuable things that you have said. I will watch it personally 2 to 3 times at least to get all the nuggets. And thank you so much. Just before leaving, one last suggestion for the youth of India, and then we can end this beautiful and amazing podcast.
Youth of India. What do you want to say?
I think it's important to work towards a better future, work towards better India. And in that sense, it's necessary to come up with a gratitude mindset, service mindset, and be more aware of the society. It's very easy to stigmatize others, judge others, compromise quality, slip into negative habits, and slip into negative influences. It's very nice if the youth of India can grow into a more stronger society, physically, mentally, to elevate for the betterment of our own country.
Amazing, amazing. This is the collective goal that we should be having. This is the reason, which is why I started this podcast, so that I can reach to the people and give them the knowledge that they can't have direct access to the amazing people like you, which I, by God's grace, have got somehow. So thank you so much for this. And everyone, please do check out the YouTube channel. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. No, it was amazing. It was a privilege for me. And I really request everyone to see the YouTube channel.
We are supposed to meet in person.
Yes. Next podcast we are doing in person.
Okay.
And I'll link the channels because even I am get to watch some of your videos. And now like courses are opened up. Like the learning, like you said, the Panchakosha healing. I think it started right here.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Thank you. It's been
amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you, Aisha. We will meet again. Thank you.